division leaders in the AFC, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Texans. Probably won't run into any of those teams in January. Hey, Nick, can the Patriots compete with the other top AFC teams in the playoffs?
We have no evidence that they can. None. They played Baltimore, fell down 17-0. Baltimore muffs a punt, New England gets back in the game, and they promptly fall down by 17 again. They play Houston, what I consider to be flawed Houston team. A Houston defense that has been leaking like a sieve since J.J. Watt went down, and even prior to that was substandard. But 31st in the red zone, 32nd third down defense. And they're down 28-9 with 4 minutes left in that football game. And then they play Kansas City against what I've been told for 2 years now is the league's worst rushing defense. And they can't run the football. And they pull off a trick play that is immediate for a touchdown that is immediately followed by Patrick Mahomes throwing an interception, an opportunity to really, in the first quarter, step on the necks of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the rest of the game, they score 9 more points and spend the next couple days whining about the refs. So if they can, we are not going to be able to go to recent history. We're going to have to go to distant history. And for a long time, the narrative of the Patriots were, if you're going to catch them in September, because by November and December, they got it figured out. Well, Christmas trees are up now, and they're playing the worst football of the season. So I don't see the evidence that they should be confident about beating the teams they're going to have to beat if they're going to make their record-tying 4th Super Bowl.
Well, this season is a little bit different. And all the teams that you talked about, they have problems too. And we're going to see how well they are able to deal with their problems, and they're going to have injuries that come up. And as much as you list those games as being completely lopsided, they had a chance in 2 out of those 3 games to pull it off. They do have the #1 defense in almost every single category. Yep. Their turnover differential is #1 in the NFL, and that's a huge indicator of success and failure. They've been very successful generating points and opportunities on special teams. And as much as we want to say that it's just a one component game, how you play on defense, how you play on special teams, those things matter.
And they have the #1 web series going right
now.
They
do. It's outstanding. And Bill's done a lot of work on that, which is nice. I think it's going to be,
Can I ask you
next episode is going to be really good.
About that, you said special teams.
The web series?
No, the special teams. Their special teams have been exceptional, except for the one area where they've been horrible, and that's the area I think a lot of people focus on, maybe improperly, but is the most important of special teams, which is, can you make kicks? And Belichick seems to be so, understandably, lacking confidence in their kicking game. They're going for 4th and 7s at the 30. Like, how much of that is a concern for you?
Yeah, that's horrible. When you're in that situation where you have no confidence in your kicker, it's the worst feeling you could possibly have, because you're constantly making decisions to go for it that you normally wouldn't, and that don't necessarily make sense in the context of analytics and your experience. But when you're faced with how well that guy's kicking on that day, it's not even how well does he kick in general, it's how well he's kicking on that day. That creates a tremendous amount of uncertainty, and that's an area that New England's barely ever had to worry about. But let's just talk offensively. I think that when you see N'Keal Harry, he's come back, they're learning about him. Mohamed Sanu, they're learning about him. Isaiah Wynn, he's just gotten back in 2 or 3 games ago. So as much as we talk about their development, these guys are new additions to the team, and they're still learning about them. Do I think that it's where they want offensively? No. The problems they have in the offensive line are real, and I've said that for weeks and weeks now. But I do think they have the ability to figure out a way to overcome those deficiencies.
Yeah, look, I didn't pick them in the preseason to win the AFC. I would not pick them today. But to say they can't compete with these other contenders in the AFC, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, they've shown us. We've been talking about track record negatively the whole show, but we also have to look at their positive track record. I mean, we could have pointed to the same things last year, and they did have late losses last year, Nick, to Miami, Pittsburgh. If they lost to Miami this year, we would be saying, oh, they're done. You know what I mean? There's no way they can win. And in 2 of the last 3 games, Tom Brady didn't look good. The game he looked good was the Jets. So that was a blowout of a bad team. So I just think their defense, as you said, Coach, is legitimate. They held one of the best offenses in the league to 2 touchdowns just last week, and over the last, 23 minutes or so, scoreless. So I wouldn't pick them to win the AFC, but I wouldn't be shocked either if they beat these teams, and I certainly give them a chance.
Why wouldn't you pick them to win the NFC? Because of their offense or because of Tom Brady?
The offense. I think at 42 years old now, Tom Brady can no longer carry mediocre talent at the skill positions. He's done that most of his career outside of Moss and Gronkowski. Now they're asking him to do it again, and I don't know that he's capable, but that's a big issue I have with them.
The question is, how good would these players be in other systems, and how much can they develop week in and week out? And I think that Tom does still have a force multiplier effect on the players around him because he's getting the team into the right decision 90+% of the time. So it could be a lot worse than it is based off of where they've been. We're just grading it on such a steep curve because we've seen it at a high level for so long.
Well, we're grading it on the curve of up until this week he had a lower passer rating than Josh Allen. But can I defend a GOAT here? The GOAT being Belichick? Belichick still picks the players there, right? He's the GM de facto. I have that correct? Okay. The Patriots have no talent as a defense of one GOAT. People do understand that is then an indictment of the other. Because I saw a rookie wide receiver make a huge impact this weekend. He was McCole Hardman. He was on the board when N'Keal Harry was picked. I saw the kid from Washington who had the unbelievable touchdown catch, who's been doing great all year. He was on the board. DK Metcalf was on the board. They chose.
Have they been playing all year, those guys that you're talking about?
Oh, okay, so fair enough. N'Keal Harry got hurt. How about the Mohamed...
How many games has N'Keal Harry played?
I think 4. How about Mohamed Sanu, who now evidently is useless? I mean, you can't ask him to make an impact. Emmanuel Sanders.
No. Who said? I never said that. What I said is we talk about the learning curve of New England, where they learn about their players and they get to the spot where they're most productive. This learning curve with those group of players, because they're new, is at a different stage. Do I think that they can continue to develop? I'm saying yes. I'm just saying it's a little bit behind the normal progression that we see with
my point is a guy who was traded for 2 hours after Mohamed Sanu was traded for the same compensation, Emmanuel Sanders, who the Patriots could have gotten. His learning curve seems to be pretty sharp. I saw him catching touchdowns this weekend, going for 150 yards. Maybe that's the learning curve. And
everybody caught touchdowns this weekend in that game. They scored 100 points.
Yeah, because you had